What's going on, you tube world? Steve, Vinny, Dave. IRP, the old Insert Revolution podcast, episode number 102. 102.
Really?
Hey, first minute, hashtag scholarship. Nobody else is doing that in the first minute. We know what our PMGs are. We're not.
Are we sure?
It's not Topps had the exclusive basketball license. We know that. We know that.
Sure, they did. Come on, man.
Because Hoops didn't exist. Fleer. I don't remember Skybox coming out. I mean, none of that happened.
Yeah, what? Skybox? Skybox did basketball? What?
Exquisite. Exquisite's like the national treasures of God.
Carvin Chung worked at Topps? He did?
He might have worked at Collector's fucking Choice. That was a brand. Oh, goddamn.
I didn't watch it. I'm just throwing it out there.
It's rough.
After I saw some of the other statements in our little group chat, I'm like, yeah, I'm not even wasting my time. I'm not even going there.
I'll give Vinny credit. It wasn't a long waste of time. It was about, a minute and a half, if that. And I mean, half of that was the guy from Billy Madison when they had the question at the end or near the end where to pass or not to pass, or and that wonderful statement he makes. I mean, I'm watching and then I see that and I'm like cackling at work because I'm like, I know exactly where it is. But yeah, that's why for nationals we have to get like the soul pull from Dazed and Confused when they initiate like the freshmen or whatever and just start hitting people over the fucking head. There's nothing in there to begin with, so I mean, it's like cracking open a Cadbury egg and you're finding nothing. It's just a hollow
chocolate buddy.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, we're breaking out with the candy analogies and
we're going old school. Old school.
Wow. We're back on point, I guess.
So first, the housekeeping for 2 episodes now. Vacation.
Start with this guy down here because his was shorter and sweeter, so to speak, than ours.
What's up, Jim? Eric.
Mine was just a quick trip to Pennsylvania. We were in and out before we knew it. There's no tax on clothes in Pennsylvania, and they have a big outlet that was basically buy an article of clothing that's already discounted, get one free.
Oh.
So I got to see all her clothes for school, at least a good bit of them. Yeah, got all her school supplies because usually they're a bit cheaper than here. We did that all day Thursday, and then Friday hung out with my family for the day, and then Saturday morning we were gone. It was quick in and out because if I had more time, I wanted to see Robert, but there was not a lot of time, Lewis, to spend there. And C's getting really good at the Bob Lewis thing. She said something about him in the car on Sunday. She was like, Bob. And then we're sitting down eating lunch, and she goes, Lewis. I'm like, wow, that's just fantastic, child. She goes, I know the lingo. I said, it's nomenclature, but you're close. But it was good to see my brother, my mom and dad, my aunt and uncle. So hopefully get to go there one more time this year before the year's end, and then soccer's already started, so We had 2 games this weekend. She played her little butt off.
Yeah,
A lot of shots.
We
A
won't
lot
go
of
into
shots.
detail on that either.
Yeah, she worked. All I can say is she worked hard. She did what her training told her to do, and she did pretty darn well given the situation. I'll leave it at that. So she's getting there. So,
As long as she keeps building her confidence, it doesn't matter how shitty the team is. She will find her way.
Yep.
And it will. She'll get there.
Yep.
So.
She's changing already. She got a ball drilled into her chest, knocked the wind out of her. She got up, stood up, put her hands over her head, told the ref, "Nope, don't call my coach, don't call anybody. Give me a second here and I'll be good." And she played. That was like the biggest thing when somebody gets in a situation like that. You have to figure out what you're going to do. Do you go off or and we don't have a backup goalie, a trained one. We really never did. That's formally trained. So she's the Rock of Gibraltar this year. We'll see how it goes.
Like I always say, as long as she remembers the one thing, short memory, and I know how hard it is. I get it. I lived it. But as long as you keep reiterating it in your head and other people kind of reiterate it, it becomes second nature. And before long, it's going to be one of those in which it won't phase her. She'll know immediately what happened, if it was on her, the adjustment that needs to be made, and it'll be second nature.
I made her watch For the Love of the Game, the part where he clears his head and he can't hear the crowd, clear the mechanism. After they scored one on her, rocket shot overhead. She jumped, tried to punch. She was just not tall enough. And she knocked the ball back to the center of the pitch. And she stood there and she went. And then she got set. And she said, "I'm going to get her jersey." She said, "I'm going to put because their emblem's over here. She wants to get a goldfish put here. Color the goldfish." I said, people will think that's not an intimidating thing, but actually the goldfish is a tough little bird when it comes to a keeper. So that and a shirt that says cheesecake. Because her one goalie coach says it's easy as cheesecake. So he's from Zimbabwe, so he doesn't know the American colloquialisms. So he says cheesecake's easy to eat. It's easy, like cheesecake. So we'll get a shirt that says #cheesecake.
Yeah, well, it's only easy if you buy it pre-made. So I guess it's my turn. I'll try and keep this somewhat short and sweet. Vacation was good, extremely long. Being gone 2 weeks, it's different. But I will say the biggest thing that sucked overall, I'll get with the negative aspect first. Since we drove, I had over 36 hours of windshield time in that 2 weeks of driving. From here, of course, to Orlando, Kissimmee. I'm not counting all the driving there, of course. Back to Destin, and then from Destin to back to the DFW area. We did drive the whole. It was a little over 12 hours back on Saturday, because originally we had it split where drive X amount of time Saturday and then get up and finish the rest of it on Sunday, but that would kind of require us to to do a bunch of crap on Sunday and be ready to go back to work on Monday. So I was like, screw it. We're going to drive all the way through Saturday. So we'll have a down day on Sunday to get shit done in the house. But Orlando was good. I was hoping to meet up with Bobby, and by the time we actually got into town, I didn't bother to text him. I was worn the F out from driving over 2 days. So that was kind of a downer to a degree. I was really hoping to have an opportunity to just kind of meet him and hang for at least a little bit, have a drink or whatever. But that didn't happen. 2 days at Universal and Islands of Adventure. A lot of walking. A lot of walking. Dave, I think I told you it was like almost 26,000 steps in the 2 days. Which that's a lot. And we didn't get there when the park opened either. So got to ride most of what we wanted to. Missed out on one, which kind of sucked. We were about 25 feet away from being able to ride it, and they shut the damn thing down, which sucks. But we did get little passes. So the kiddo and I were able to use it to go ride Hagrid's, only because, fair warning, anybody who goes to Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, Hagrid's, which is the motorbike roller coaster, great ride, probably by far one of my more favorite. I'll call it a roller coaster, but it's not. But one of my most favorite out of everything I've ridden over the years. Hour and 15 to hour and 20-minute wait on average. Doesn't matter. It's always long. But with the passes, we coasted in through the single rider line, and it was kind of nice. They kind of just intermixed us into the full line. So we still got to ride together. So that was kind of cool. But it was still about 25 minutes, which all in all wasn't too bad, considering the wait at the time when we went through the single rider line was still about an hour and 15 minutes. But the Harry Potter stuff at both Universal and Islands of Adventure, fantastic. I would highly recommend it, which I don't normally do, but just some of the architecture and all the stuff that they incorporated into the various areas, the shops, the rides, yeah, pretty cool. Rode quite a bit of stuff, which, I'm a theme park guy, so it's all about the rides and the entertainment, so to speak. Friday, we went to Epcot. That was a waste of $400. Although Disney is regulating their attendance, that freaking place was packed. Like I'm thinking Universal Islands of Adventure was packed. Oh hell no! Epcot seemed like it was like 3 times the number of people there. Got to ride 2 things. Put our name on the virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy. That was like a 7-hour wait. So it would have been like almost like 7:00 by the time we would have gotten in queue to ride it. And who knows how long you wait once your virtual queue number comes into play. Test Track was down 3 times while we were there. Great ride. I love Test Track, but didn't even get to ride that. It was hot as hell that day. The humidity was through the roof. That was by far the hottest day too. The other 2 days were okay. We got rained on Thursday a little bit, but Friday was miserable. We headed over to ride Ratatouille, which is like a 3D type thing. just because, air coolness.
Yep.
Hour and 20-minute wait. And then it had problems. And with my kiddos' legs, the way that they are, standing in line for an extended period of time just doesn't fly. So we didn't even ride it. So we darted. And that was pretty much about the extent of Epcot. We were there for, I think, 4.5 hours, and we're like, screw this. It was bad. Between the heat, the number of people, the issues with the rides, the wait times, it was just bad. Not to mention, Disney is now smoke free. If you want to smoke, you actually have to exit the park and come back in. You're on mute, or you're unplugged because I didn't hear you. 1 minute. Universal Islands of Adventure still has smoking sections. They're in a few different places or whatever. Last time I was at Disney, they still had the same thing. Not anymore. You actually have to exit the park and come back in. So, no skull. So yeah, that was the first part. Where we stayed was fantastic. And then the second week in Destin, we dealt with a lot of rain, which is kind of unfortunate when you're, going to the beach. But we did have a few nice days. Went to the outlet mall as well. They have one of the bigger outlet malls in the country. So shit ton of stuff. Got me a pair of new shoes. My wife got her a pair of new shoes. Finally bought me a new pair of sunglasses.
No new hat.
No new hat. Went out to eat a couple times. So it was nice to get fresh seafood, which is always enjoyable. I know you always want to hear about the food, Dave.
That's correct.
But two seafood joints that we went to. Good all the way around. Trying to think, what else did we do? We went to an aquarium. SeaWorld, not on so you have SeaWorld, which would be aquarium on steroids, and then the aquarium we went to was like down here. But it was still cool.
I would say those are usually better though too, because I mean, yeah, you get the interactive with all the other like the SeaWorld. I'd rather actually just see everything just sort of floating around doing what it would normally do.
Which, pretty much what it is. I mean, you walk around to the various little areas and, you see stingrays and you see a shark and penguins and otters. And they do a dolphin show and a sea lion show.
Okay.
So there is some sort of, I don't want to call it entertainment, but I guess that's what it is. A live thing. Yep. They also had an interaction with some alligators, which was kind of cool. Sitting there talking about the various alligators and, getting them to actually like do certain things almost on command. It was kind of cool. But it's part of that has to do with muscle memory and the fact that if they do this, they know they get fed. So, yeah. I mean, come on. It's not rocket science by any stretch of the imagination,
No, but it's still cool because again, they're doing something other than just laying there.
And one of them I want to say was close to a 10-foot alligator. I mean, good size. The other ones were fairly small, but the one was, and the trainer for the big one was a female.
Okay.
The two guys had the smaller ones, and the female had the big one. Go figure. That was I was quite surprised to see that, but small, but I mean a lot of stuff to see. And for I think it was $27, I think. We were there for 4 hours, give or take.
Yeah, that's
all in all. I mean,
that's good bang for your buck. I mean, that's value.
and you could have done, photo ops. You could have had interactions with, a stingray and a dolphin, and of course, more money.
Yep.
We weren't going to pay any of that kind of, because they were all like 20 something dollars a pop in the amount of time spent with the interactions. To me, we couldn't justify the expense. So that was cool. What else did we do? Did some souvenir shopping, which of course you always do when you're on vacation. We did take one opportunity. So a few of the guys saw the pictures of where we were staying. So I mean, this was the condo. The beach is like literally right across the street. I mean, we were really close, which you can't beat. Saw a few live dolphins from time to time, which is always kind of cool. But we went to a beach kind of off the beaten path a little bit, just to go check out, because people were parked there. So it's like, obviously you can go here. And if we would have known, we would have done our shelling at those two locations a lot sooner, because where we were at didn't find much of anything, but we spent a little over 2 hours at the other one. And geez, it was like every time you turn around, we were finding some pretty cool stuff. So, and that's mine and my kiddos thing, is shelling. But no, it was fun. Don't think I could go 2 weeks again, because it's just a lot of time. And at least from my perspective, I stayed on top of my email to where I didn't have, 1,000 emails or whatever when I came back to work. I stayed on top of it pretty much, which was always nice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do want to go back, not to Destin per se, but being a theme park guy, I would like to go back at least to Universal Islands of Adventure and write a few things that I missed and write a few things that I really enjoyed again. So that was mine.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, and by the way, I still need to send you the one video that I told you whenever it was we were talking, the lightning storm in the background, or in the, you can't hear anything, but it's pretty cool.
That would be something I know Tristan and I would do. We would just sit there on that place to shell. It's like we do that with the rocks. I mean, it's not, and up there, the big draw is agates. If you find agates, I mean, it's like finding a gold doubloon for us. But you've got now everybody and their mother trying to do the same thing, and there's like certain areas that people want to find them, but it's not necessarily always on the beach. A lot of these agates that people find are back a couple miles in the woods, because again, over time, the water has receded over a lot of time actually, and then you can find them in these pits more so than you can find them on the shore. We've still got to hit the Upper Peninsula of Michigan to do like a week or 10 days over there at some point, but and then do the Lake Superior travel loop, go up through like southern Ontario, and then come back down through Sault Ste. Marie, or I don't know if it'd be vice versa, if we'd go through Michigan, then up through Sault Ste. Marie, and then come back over towards Minnesota. But yeah, that's fun. Just again, all you're doing is looking. I'm guessing down there, just cool shells, and I don't know, sand dollars, stuff like that, where it's just like.
I tell you what. So we've been to Padre, we've been to Galveston. As far as vacation is concerned, both locations we've done fairly well as it pertains to shelling. Destin did not start out very well until we went to the other beach, but I have never in my life seen so many sand dollar pieces than what you do in Destin. And I'm wondering if that's, of course, where part of the white sands come into play because we brought quite a few of them home, like bigger pieces, and there were some. I mean, we found chunks that were like this big.
Okay.
So you can only imagine the size of the sand dollar.
Mm-hmm.
We found none whole, of course. We found some that were 2/3 whole,
Oh.
which is not bad considering. But there were more sand dollar pieces and what I call angel wings than anything else at the beach where we were staying at. The other one, I mean, we were finding all sorts of stuff, all sorts of stuff. So, but it's one of those in which you don't ever know. Sometimes you have to do some digging and do some Google searches and things along those lines. And we found the beach on the way to the aquarium, and I'm like, there's cars there. So that's when my wife kind of started doing some searches and stuff and found that a lot of these I don't even want to call them off the beaten path because it's not like nobody knows about them. There's just only a small handful of people there.
Yeah.
And they're there to get away from other individuals and on a crowded beach.
Mm-hmm.
We were the only ones that were shelling. Everybody else was just there chilling on the beach. So it was fun though.
Or that's vice versa. On Lake Superior, it's all people looking for rocks. Nobody's swimming in it because it's basically ice water. That's that. Because I know for the most part we had good weather. It just that one night, if you watched my channel at all, you saw the storm, which I wish I would have. If we had an umbrella in the vehicle, I didn't know that. If we did, it would have been a lot, I won't say better, but a lot more intense footage. And probably shit where I would have jumped and you would have jumped. Because I've never heard thunder that loud in my life. Ever. It was directly over us. Where you see that blinking light in the video, we can still see that from the tent easily. I mean, we just that in the back part of it because you got like I don't know what it's supposedly sleeps like 12, but it's the one where you can zip up the middle and still have each side is a pretty big chunk, doors on each end. So I'm like, fuck it, I want to watch this because this, looking at the radar, it's just nothing but red coming. Watch, and you're hearing the lightning, and like as the video showed, it's just a strobe light, literally just a constant strobe light of lightning. And then the rain comes. No wind. That was the odd part. Is just like literally no wind with this storm, which is good. You always worry about those storms, and especially if you're in a tent, it's not exactly the safest of all places to be, with all the trees and whatnot around. Watching out there, it's just like, man, this is awesome. And then the thunder's just like cracking, sounding like cannons going off. Again and again, it's like, man, that's so loud. And Lily's trying to she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She's going one way, zigging another way, and just she's all out of sorts because it's just such intense lightning, such intense thunder. So I'm looking out that window and I'm like, Trista's like, you're jumping like a little kid. You're like a kid on Christmas morning. I'm like, this is awesome. This is northern Minnesota. And she's like, I know, I get it. But she's like, this is like the most excited I've seen you for like anything. And that's like cards. And well, again, it's weather. it's the thing that I guess you don't see the most. Cards you see, food's always good, but you're not sitting there jumping around like throwback to Joel Gertner from ECW. You're not like just jumping around and clapping and fluttering your feet. It's like this is some heavy, heavy rain. The thunder again, loud as hell. And then I'm looking, the lightning bolt comes down and it hits that point out there where that light, that beacon is blinking out that way because it goes further past there. And then I'm like, oh shit. And she's like, what? And before I could even answer that thunder, oh my God, that thing just shook through your bones. And she's like, oh my God. I'm like, yep. So I'm like, that's where I wish I would have had the video going through that outside, because that would have been such an insanely intense lightning strike to catch on film. So it was what, maybe a half mile at most away. And I'm just like, this is insane. This is like 1:30 in the morning too. So I'm literally like the First National energy right there. It's like, let's go, come on. And then I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, it finally started moving out. And she's like, her radar on the iPhone does like a future cast or whatever that shows like, hey, 3:00, there's gonna be some storms coming. Okay, whatever, we know what's coming, whatever. Didn't even hear a thing because that just all the adrenaline and the excitement of that. I'm like, that was it.
We got Bob lurking in the shadows.
Well, it's the best I can do right now.
You're good, Bob.
I'm hanging in the living room, and the wife is here. We broke out the GameCube. We're playing Resident Evil 4. I'm pretty much just like her coach.
Nice.
I'm not what you would call a gamer. And I just tell her when to reload. Basically. But yeah, our schedules are pretty busy right now, so this is like the only time we get to hang out. She entered you didn't enter. She got she doesn't call it the lead, but she's in a play coming up in October. So it's like the third or fourth time she's done it. Okay. And like they like her because she's young and hot and
talented.
I mean, talented.
Young and hot and talented.
Yeah, and can remember lines, right? So we end up. I get to like run lines with her, and she was just like, because I was trying to read every other character with a different voice, and it's called Southern Fried Funeral or something, right? So everybody's Southern, so I just gave everybody like worse and worse Southern accents, and she's just like, I appreciate it, but can you just read it normal? It's not helping. So
you're blowing concentration, Bob.
Yeah. But I'm impressed she can remember any lines. I'm impressed anybody can remember any lines. Not because I myself can barely remember that, like, my pin to my ATM.
1, 2, 3, 4, Bob. It's
right. Same as my luggage combination. Yeah. Bosco.
No, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's right.
I've got the same combination on my luggage.
I was listening. Sound like Steve. No smoking at Disney now, huh?
No smoking at Disney. Well, at Epcot, my assumption is it's going to be across all Disney parks.
But Epcot, we don't really have a desire to go to Epcot. Like, she likes the real Disney, Animal Kingdom, which it's fun. It's fun enough, but I want to hit up Universal Studios. That's what I feel like is missing from my vacation life.
So if you go to Universal, it costs you a little bit more, but
Yeah.
if you want to experience the Hogwarts Express, which you can get on either at Universal or Islands of Adventure, you have to have the park to park pass.
Oh, right.
So if you don't have the park to park pass, you can't go between parks.
Like
It's
the park
not-
hopper, right? Is that what that is?
No, it's not a hopper.
Oh.
Hopper is Disney.
Oh, what's park to park? That's just the same idea for a different.
Yes,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
the same concept. So with the park to park, you can catch it at either or and go to the other one at any point in time. Like with the hopper with Disney, because they're still somewhat in COVID protocols,
Right.
you go to one and then after a certain time you can actually go to the other. With park to park at Universal, it doesn't matter. If you went to Universal and went immediately and got on the Hogwarts Express, you could immediately go to Islands of Adventure if you wanted to.
What Islands of Adventure?
What's Islands of Adventure? We're asking.
So you've heard of Six Flags,
Yeah.
Adventure Landing, that type. It's the same concept. It's more a theme park.
Water park, or just you're
Oh.
saying like attractions still?
Attractions. They do have a water park as part of Universal. So you could actually do a park to park and go to all three. I can't remember what it's called. But Islands of Adventure is more like a Six Flags than it
Okay.
is. But if you're going to experience Harry Potter, you got to go to both because they're two completely different setups.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how much is Harry Potter that like big that it can take it? How long did it take to do the Harry Potter stuff?
Are you also asking as it pertains to like wait times for the attractions and the rides?
No, I would say no, because I assume that's going to be substantial regardless. So, like, what is kind of
So at
return on my investment of time am I getting?
So at Universal, you could spend a couple hours within their Harry Potter stuff, easy, and that's going into all the shops that they have, that type of stuff. The rides. If you buy a wand and do like the magic stuff, 2 hours easy, and I may be like shorten it.
Yeah, definitely geared more towards adolescence and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Islands of Adventure, the architecture and a lot of the stuff that they have within the Harry Potter section is more the intriguing part, but it's not. I think they have like one store and it's like the candy shop. That's it.
The candy shop.
Everything else is ride based. And I think Islands of Adventure. Shit, I don't remember. I was trying to think of where the castle is.
Magic Kingdom Castle?
No, not the Magic Kingdom castle. The Hogwarts castle.
Oh, okay.
Hey, kiddo, are you in there? Where's the castle? The Hogwarts castle. Is it at Universal or at Islands?
Where's the home?
The castle for Harry Potter.
It's Adventure Landing, I think.
Adventure Landing or Islands of Adventure or whatever. So they have something at night with the castle. That's like a light show and stuff. We were never there late at night to like close the place down because we're all tired.
Tired is the biggest understatement of the year.
But
we know the feeling.
Is it a fair assessment though? I told Bob because Bob was asking. Like Universal, the Harry Potter stuff at Universal, outside of wait times, you could spend an easy 2 hours within doing the Harry Potter stuff at Universal with all the shops and the magic stuff and all that other kind of stuff.
I don't know if they can hear me without me.
What about rides? Like Harry Potter themed rides?
The rides are fantastic.
There's a ton to do because it's split between two parks. One half of the park has more rides than anything, and the other half is mostly the shops that you're doing.
Okay.
But there's a lot to do. We didn't even get through everything. We didn't go in
No.
every shop or anything. I mean, we spent other time in the other stuff too, but
The rides are fantastic. The rides.
Yes.
Well, so like the when I was growing up, like they were advertising like the King Kong, the Earthquake one, the Jaws one. Like those like are the big three.
Jaws is gone.
I
Earthquake is
expect
gone.
all of them to be gone.
Yep.
But like, well, so what are the attractions getting people there now?
So Harry Potter is the big draw. Honestly,
Sure.
it really is. It's the biggest draw.
it was packed.
It was. The Return of the Mummy, which got a big refurbishment. That's always been a big draw. Transformers is another decent draw.
We were in line for that Transformers one for a while.
Rock and Roller Coaster is fantastic.
Is that the first one we went
That's
on?
the first-
That was fun. I almost
That's-
passed out on that one.
That's
the Aerosmith thing?
They call it the Rock and Roller Coaster.
You get to pick your music that you listen to while you're on it.
Okay. There's something similar to that that's Aerosmith themed at Disney. I say the best Disney ride that I had experience I had was the Avatar ride, man. It was nutty. Feels like you were flying.
I'm guessing that's what I would call like one of the immersive ones that you're sitting in something, but yet you're doing a bunch of movements.
Yeah, you're strapped into something that's kind of out over a ledge a little bit, and it's just a big screen, and then the thing moves as the screen moves. You know what I mean? You see those things at the mall that like you sit in, and it's like you're riding a roller coaster. It's like that on all kinds of steroids.
So 2 of the Harry Potter rides are like that, and they are phenomenal. They are fantastic.
That's about the best I can do right now. I can't ride real roller coasters. What's up, man?
Yeah, one's in 3D, one is not. Transformers was in 3D.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm on
Harry Potter was in 3D.
Yes. I want to say there was a third one that was in
But I
3D,
can't-
but I
yeah,
can't
but I
remember
can't
what it
remember.
was. Because the Fast and Furious one wasn't in 3D.
No, and that sucked. I was thoroughly disappointed with
It
that one.
was
A lot of people say they need to shut that down because that's
walking around this stuff was cool, but
that's where the earthquake natural disaster ride used to be, is where the Fast and the Furious one is now.
We did Universal when I was a kid. I remember Jaws, but that's really it. Wasn't there a Back to the Future one? I feel like that was
Yes, there
that
was
like
there was at one
in
point.
development or something.
But so they change it all the time, and you know,
Sure.
my kid is a lot like me. The older that they get, the more interested they are in the roller coasters and the
Right.
rides because I'll use the air quotes of grown up as it pertains to what they're willing to ride and what they aren't.
They've done all the scavenger hunts already. Like they're beyond that, you know? They need some thrill.
So, like a couple of years ago, Rock and Roller Coaster and the Hulk at Islands of Adventure, that is a freaking great roller coaster. Holy crap. That is fantastic. So if you ever go, I'm not going to give you any details, but
Yeah, all right.
it's like, it's one of those in which, holy crap, I wasn't expecting that.
I'm not going to win the argument on if it's up in the air between Disney and Universal. So
So Bob, listen, I've been to both. I've been to Magic Kingdom. I've been to Epcot. I've been to Animal Kingdom. I found it. Sorry, kiddo.
oh well, I guess the other one that was
The only one that I haven't been to is Hollywood Studios, which is part of Disney. I still want to do that.
yeah.
This was the first time I've done Islands of Adventure, and by far, spending the 2 days, we would have been better off if we would have done the 3-day park to park at Universal Islands of Adventure. Just all 3 days there. Because there is so much stuff to do.
And Epcot changed so much since last time you guys
Yes,
were there. It didn't end up being worth it.
Epcot was.
We only stayed there for like 4 hours.
Yeah. Epcot was disappointing. And I used to love Epcot. I loved it.
That's a big golf ball. Wait, what is it? No, what is that? That's Epcot, right? Oh, there it is. Don't scare my children with that thing, Dave. Oh, it's creeping back there.
So Bob, if you want to talk more about that, we can chat.
All right, cool.
Because if not, I could spend all episode talking about it. But we actually do have a topic to discuss.
What?
You're in your underwear. They don't want this video to get flagged. You're not allowed to show little girls in their underwear on the internet, honey. Go, just go in the other room, please. For reasons I'm not even about to get into. So, have you guys ever been gamers or are still on any level?
Not to the level of what you see now, where it's like what esports and all that other stuff. When Madden would come out, again, it's been pretty much redundant the last how many years. You can't really do much of anything. It's when the biggest news is what somebody rating. That's not exactly groundbreaking for a game.
What happened to the Madden franchise? I heard like it was like the micro like purchases that sort of killed the spirit of the game.
I
think
think
in order to be good or build a team, you had to like
spend money.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the or the Candy Crush, whatever. You have to buy the stuff in the game.
Yeah, right.
Whatever to be better. It's like, well, what they get because it's a free game on an app or whatever. I get that where you're making money, but you're spending $60 for the Madden game. You should be getting something for it, not just like the same template of a Madden game that's been out for 20 years.
Yeah, right.
It's not like you're changing any playbooks. I mean, if you do, it's not something huge and drastic. So, yeah, when you have to start buying these people or this person or this kind, whatever it is, it's like, those are where the gamers are. You want to.
Right.
I just want to sit down, play a game, accumulate stats, so it looks like David Klingler and Andre Ware are out there, and that's about it. I just want to run up numbers. That's all I care about. I don't care about.
I've tried those games, like even on your phone, where it's like you build your little town or whatever, and you got your garden, you're like mining, and then it's like they force you to like join a guild with other. I'm like, I don't want to like interact with other people. I just want to freaking build my little like homestead here and be left alone. And then you get attacked, and if you're not on a team, then like you got nobody to help you defend your turf, and so it's like I can't get into those games. I tried.
No,
but then those are the worst kind for like buying. For $4.99 you'll get 200 gems, and then you can go buy like whatever you need. But anyways, that's not really gaming in my eye. This is kind of fun. This Resident Evil thing, digging that out and blowing the dust off it. I never played any of them games. I stopped after. Well, I went the Sega route to PS1, and then I pretty much was done. And I only had like 3 or 4 games for PS1.
That's the whole reason why I went to PlayStation, was because Resident Evil, the first one,
really?
Came out on PlayStation. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. I'm away from play. I have my Xbox, but that was the whole reason initially why I traded in all my other stuff to get a PS1, was because of Resident Evil.
The first games I had were like PC games. That just never caught on to me. So like from like next gen games. I mean, I just growing up with the Nintendo and the controller, I always sort of needed that to feel comfortable. Couldn't really operate in the keyboard. Now I watch my kids do it. I'm like, it's incredible.
That's the thing. You needed the controller for our generation, where you try to do. My brother, man, we were getting some hellacious battles because he would be on the computer from like 7 in the morning until 8 at night playing Counter-Strike.
And
I mean, my mom's like, I thought you guys were gonna kill each other. I'm like, I wanted to go on for a couple hours, print off some of my stats, go on eBay, go on Beckett. Like that's all we do, but it's like keep playing and playing and playing. It's like, man, fucking get the fuck off there, man. Man, we would sure very colorful and very loud and so yeah, that I've never been a computer PC gaming type stuff because I would that's all I think of. And that's all I'll ever think of is just like
Yeah.
wanting to hit my brother with a bat to get him off the goddamn computer.
I've gone down those YouTube rabbit holes of like just kids overreacting with their gaming systems, and yeah.
I will finish before we get more gaming. I'll bow up the vacation. We ate a couple different places. Most of the time we had meals prepared, and Trista fucking did I brought the stuff, or we bought some stuff at the store that I didn't bring down from Zoop's, and prepared all that stuff pre-trip. So we'd have a big Ziploc bag. You have like diced peppers, diced onions, potatoes, or whatever for like some kind of skillet thing we were making with sausage. The chicken for our like hobo dinners, or I know we had burger, I think, for that, but whatever it was, all the food we had, it was pretty much ready to rock and roll. Fire every night, watching the stars, watching like just I gotta get new glasses because these are starting to struggle. So I'm like, I used to be able to really see that satellite go by, and now it's just like I see the blinking. I'm like, I gotta up that game because I want to see a little more detail. And Venus was out, which I don't know if that happens a ton. I'm not a astronomy person, but it was odd because we couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. Because you'd look at the horizon over like the eastern part of going to the east, and there'd be like that yellow light like right on the horizon. But then some nights, instead of that, it'd be up 10 degrees in the sky, and you're like, what the hell is this? It's just there, and then it'd sort of go away. So we're like, again, I've watched my fair share of Unsolved Mysteries, so Robert Stack's words always are resonating in the back of my head. And I know the one night we saw the light in front of us, like an old ship, but it's just the one yellow light going across past us, and then disappeared when it got to like the end of the lake, or end of what we could see, and then it popped up again. And I'm like, so I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of, obviously, you can have a lot of people that have passed away in the lake. A lot of ships sank. Other people died either from like jumping in or just capsizing in canoes or whatnot. So the guy, there's a cross river that's basically, let's say, a city block, maybe a couple of those away, and that's what the hell's his name, Father Baragas, that he was trying to get supplies for the people up there in like November, and he sank. So they a priest, so they put a cross there at the river ahead. So I mean, there's a lot of history where it's not just like, oh, the Edmund Fitzgerald. Yes, that's a huge part of it, but go look on Google, say, hey, ship sinking in Lake Superior, and like approximately where they are. That map is just littered with hundreds of wrecks. So I always believe in that, like the supernatural. Something else is out there. It's not just us. You can't just have us and that's it. There's got to be something else out there. So, but yeah, fun time. Her dog, good most of the time. There's a couple times she got on my nerves, but she's old as shit. So, I don't know how many adventures she's got left, but she was basically good, wrapping herself around the table, the chairs. I mean, everything with lead that she's on. Saw that bird eating the berries. That's cool. Stuff like that where you think that I don't think that's cool. If you look at me, it's like, nah, fuck, you don't give a shit. But that's the stuff I could just sit there and watch.
You're a nature guy, man.
Oh, I love it.
Look at you, man. Come on.
Do I?
You're Amish. Why would you not enjoy it?
Now I've got the nickname at the store of Sasquatch because I look like the Jack Link's Sasquatch. So it's like, man, go from Amish to that. I mean, that's not a step up. That's a couple steps down. So, but yeah, the butterfly, the cool monarch butterfly that just sat there, and I took probably like 70 pictures of a butterfly. So
well, that's all right. I think I have like 10 or 12 pictures on my phone of all the various lizards that were near the condo.
God, that'd be the bad part about going down there. I wouldn't go to any of these other places. Mostly because I'm not an amusement park guy. I'm just not. That's not my cup of tea. And people waiting in line with people, it's like I pick up the conversations quickly of what's going on around me. If I hear something stupid, it's like, oh, you've lit the fuse of how long can I stand here before I just walk away?
I block it out, Dave. I've
tried, and it's just like once you hear one thing, it's like the other stuff gets blocked out, and I'm hearing whatever piddle and crap garbage that they're saying. So
I don't know. Maybe I've stood in lines long enough to where I focus on engaging in conversation with the people I'm at the park with, and not worry about anything else. I mean, we engaged in conversations with a lot of people though while standing in line, and they were good conversations. But it's it's just one of those in which right time, right place type situation. It's not like you're interjecting yourself in conversation. But for the most part, it's like I hear nothing but the people I'm there with. It's weird.
So yeah, we didn't do much. We went through that train tunnel. That was cool as shit. I'm trying to think what else. We went to Grand Marais again. We had a breakfast at one of the cafes there. Did some rummage sailing. The Iona Beach. That's one of the beaches. If you look that up, just like the college up in New York, IONA. It's when the waves really lap the shoreline when they come through the rocks. The lake. I mean, it's such a cool sound. But of course, we go there. It's calm as glass on the lake. It's like still cool to see. So we went out on like the rocks there, and there's all kinds of like bees everywhere, and just I don't know, just stuff where if you take your phone, you're taking it for pictures because that's cool. You're not sitting submerged with it. It's usually people and their stupidity, but this was just nature. I think there was a woodchuck that we saw too. I couldn't get my phone out quick enough, but that thing.
I saw a shooting star 2 nights ago, dude.
Yes, those
crazy.
So cool. I mean, it still react like it's the first time I've seen one.
Yeah, that's only the second one I've ever seen in my life that I can remember. I ran in like a little kid. Rubbing it in my 6-year-old's face.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
got to be at the right place at the right time, Ruby. Sorry.
And that's like the lesson. Hey, when I say look at the sky, I'm saying it because guess what? There's gonna be stuff that you don't see.
So what is what would you say? I'm not going to put you on the spot and like ask you to number them or lay it out there, but you should do like a top 5 like things caught in the wild that you saw unexpectedly or whatever. I don't know if you've ever seen any animal encounters, but we've had a couple of those where I grew up in West Virginia. Some deer going at it.
I haven't. Not really.
You hear it more too, though.
like not like fighting and not like brawling. And on the way back through Michigan several years ago, saw all these cars pulled over on the side of the road. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Somebody getting an accident or what? Haven't seen that either, thankfully. Tapping upon the bow chicka wow wow.
That grin said it all. So,
but there's 2 moose and like just 20 feet off the road, just eating.
Wow.
And I'm okay. So I mean, I spent like 15 minutes just taking pictures. Because again, you do not see moose.
Yeah. We did do like the South Dakota thing once, and it's like that with buffalo, dude. These humongous animals just sort of like off the side of the road, certain places. Don't get out of your vehicle signs everywhere.
And people still get out.
There's alligator crossing signs in Florida. And I'm not bullshitting. Like where you see like deer crossing. I mean, there was a couple places that we saw alligator crossing.
Golf courses probably have them all over.
Yeah.
This was driving down the road though, Bob, not at a golf course.
So just be prepared to see an alligator in the middle of the road. That's that classic, how do the alligators know to cross? Right there. That's a sign.
But yeah, that was fun. We just chilled out a lot of the time. I got to put together 2 lists of cards. Try to brainstorm some more topics. We didn't ask anybody in a contest. Name some topics that we can talk about. We try to do that on our own. I try to do that because I mean I'll brainstorm with you guys and like, hey, anybody got something? Or that's why if Vinny starts pumping over some videos, I'm like, okay, I gotta watch something just to see if I can get a tidbit out of there that we can talk about. Because a lot of the time it jostles something loose. Usually not just my bowels, but I mean something that's like, okay, that's something if Brain Dead Joey and not Joey Birdcat, I'm just using names, and dumbass numbers over there, they can't come to some agreement on something because of nomenclature, terms, verbiage, whatever. It's like, okay, we got to talk about this for a bit because we know about it. So, but yeah, just sitting there, relaxing. I'm fat enough where I broke one of the, what are those chairs? The zero gravity ones. I was able to break one of those with my bulbous mass. So that was a treat. But yeah, it's always fun being with her. Just Tristan and I just have a good time, and we don't have to sit there and go here, go there. We have to be a part of a group, and she went to her little gift store, bought some hoodies and sweatshirts and whatnot, and I think a pair of earrings. We got a monster cookie. We didn't even get to show that for like the fattening tour because I just ate them right away. She loves those. She can buy them by the dozen. Me, I'm indifferent. Cookies are not huge for me. Gummy bears are.
Still waiting on mine.
Don't worry, they're still.
No, they're still not there. You've eaten them like 5 times over.
Maybe.
It's okay, Dave. It's okay. I understand. They are very addictive. I get it.
Oh God, it's worse than Pringles.
I buy them here from time to time when I find them at Walgreens, and I make sure nobody is around me when I eat them because I eat the whole stinking bag. And I buy the smaller ones. I don't buy the big one.
You don't have Menards down there. I think that's an upper Midwest thing, correct? Or no?
No Menards here.
Because I know they carry the big fatty bags there. So
on occasion they do. They do with the Walgreens, but like I said, I stick to the smaller ones because they're usually like 2 for $4. So I get 2 of them.
Like at a gas
and,
station, you see
and I'll eat them. I'll eat them. I at least save the second bag for the next day, but it's a 1 per bag per sitting, always.
And the smell of the bag. I always take a couple hits from that because it smells so good.
And the worms, the gummy worms are as good too.
The sour ones, they're good as well.
I haven't seen those, so can I put in a request if they actually have the sour ones? I'd like to try those.
You'll get there's gonna be at some point there's gonna be a package to both you guys, obviously. But yeah, there's gonna be some treats. That'll be for sure.
There's always treats.
Well, yes.
So before we go any further into vacation talk, because let's face it, I think we could probably kill the entire time of the show on vacation talk. I think it's time we get into the actual topic of conversation. As Bob comes back, look at that, perfect timing too. And
but I would say at some point you guys.
Hey, I'm gonna stay on mute for just the majority until like it's my turn to speak. Just there's a lot going on here. That's all.
No worries.
That you guys got to come up here and do the camping thing because again, at one of these points in times when we're up there, and again it's tough to like go from site to site because usually somebody's in each site. But just so you guys can all see, like, crap, this is all like on the lake. It's not just ours on the lake. There's about 9 that are pretty much on the lake, and it's super nice. Again, and it's $40 ish maybe a night.
I'm a glamping kind of guy. Put me in a cabin. I like my air conditioning, man.
No, you don't need it for that.
Dave, you'd be surprised.
I will guarantee you don't.
Dude, when it's 20 degrees outside, I still have my fan blowing full blast.
Oh, that's a fan. That's a fan. You can don't knock it until you tried it.
Fly me up there, Dave, and let's go.
Like Carlos, that Fanatics money has not trickled my way yet. So,
well, get on selling some more stuff, then, Dave.
I'm trying.
I still got to go back and look at your sale videos, Dave. I understand they're probably some stuff's not available now, right?
Some. It's not been much though. I mean, it's been a handful of sales, but
I mean, you know what I like. If feel free to send me some pics if you think there's some stuff. Anyways, not to get off track. Yeah, there you go. Oh, okay. Now we're talking. That's Dan was he's like, you should check out that video. He kept nudging me. I'm like, all right, so there's something on there clearly. All right. Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah, there's some Moss stuff, obviously. He has that set aside in its own stack, Bob.
Nice. Well, he's a good friend, so cool.
But yeah,
I need some nice patch Moss stuff. So
and that's the thing. We've said it, and then after I'll say all this gibberish. And chime in if you want, but I mean, then we'll get to the topic. But it'd be nice not to sell anything, and then fucking get more and get more and get more. But we can't run up credit cards and have these immaculate collections. And well, we can, but that's the thing. Some people can because they don't have families. They don't have other things pulling at their purse strings. So as much as I'd like to pick up all the Iverson shit I can from the late 90s, because that would be what I would do. Because that was the guy. That's the guy. I've got to pick up other guys if I want to collect them, because that's the price point that works best for me. some are costing more than I want, but at the same time, it's like I want to get copies of this stuff in hand, and if I'm going to spend $80 for Joe Nobody, I'll pay 110 for somebody I like, because at least that's going to be something I can go back and look at. Okay, if I build this collection around this guy, and it's not like I'm picking every card. It's like I don't have to be Josh Johnson with everyone. These are going to be like, if I get a good deal, hey, good deals only. But otherwise, I'm going to pick the stuff I like. I might overpay, but it's going to be stuff I know back then it was stuff I wanted. Through the years, you're like, you sort of fade away from some of the stuff. You're like, football. Josh Johnson, player. Then you go back. It's like, well, I could have probably got that card for $50. Now it's 110. Now it's 120. Whatever the case may be, times change. Snooze, you lose. You can focus, but you can't focus the way we would have liked. But yeah, if I could just not sell anything and have unlimited funds and like Iverson, there's a lot of Kobe's I'd like to pick up. Like you, a ton of Shaqs I would absolutely love to have. I've bid on some Shaqs and I've lost just because I want to see some of these cards in hand. Because of stuff, some of it I don't remember at all. A lot of it because back then it was cool. Now it's even cooler. But I've got to sell, and it's so painful for me because I hate letting shit go. But in the same sense, if I want to get some stuff I really like, I'm gonna have to give up some stuff I really like. That's how this shit works.
Yeah, it's that double-edged sword.
So I don't know. Bob, there's still left, and I found even more stuff that I'm like, I could have put this in the video and this in the video. I wouldn't have necessarily sold it. But it's something where it's like a Jim Brown National Treasures patch number 3 of 3. I'm like, that would drum up the interest, but it's like I'm not selling it at eBay comps. I don't give a fuck about that when it comes to the card. I don't care if you're going to sell it and you need to make your whatever percentage. It's like that card is going to command what I say it commands, and if you don't want to, I wouldn't sell it anyway because that's 3 of 3. That's not coming back around. So
hey Bob, this is nothing big, but have you opened any Optic, Bob?
Oh, basketball, football. What year? I mean, yeah, I've opened Optic in general.
This year, 2021. Have you opened any Optic?
Football. No.
So it's just a base card, but
nice.
You want it?
Heck yeah. Yeah, man, definitely.
I figured you did. It's nothing much. It's a base card, but I think the Optic design looks really clean this year.
No, when like all this ample free time that I have, but I like to peruse the parallels of my guys just to see what's out there. Catch a limited one or a snake skin or zebra or something, tiger skin, peacock. Maybe one of Mosaic has the Genesis. I picked up the mosses and those. So yeah.
Giraffe poop. Wasn't that the giraffe shit? Wasn't that the one that
that's still coming out? I think that's what they're unveiling that. And a lot going on with Panini, I hear, huh? Or maybe not.
I'm still going to call it speculation and rumor because I
don't even know what's going on.
I question that to actually be a thing only because, and I do not include Leaf as a trading card manufacturer because they have no licenses. That would only leave Upper Deck. Dave, why did you just make yourself big and not even be there? Until it's announced, I'm not going to call BS because I could understand why. That's nice. Reggie White.
Oh, wow. Nice.
92 finest.
4, right? 94.
You're not getting rid of that, Dave.
No, these are things that I didn't even come across. It's like in piles of stuff that.
Ooh.
Yeah, Vinny knows that one. But anyways, it's one of those in which I still don't see it, only because even Panini America still has a pretty substantial valuation under Panini Worldwide, Panini, whatever the parent company is. And I would find it very interesting that even like allow
that's awesome.
One manufacturer to have, there only be one manufacturer, and that would only lead to Upper Deck, and that's my take on that. I've been wrong before, but I don't see that being a thing. Personally, Topps made sense. Yeah, that would have gotten some inquiries.
Ooh, wow,
that's a nice patch. That would be another one that would probably
get still alive.
Yeah.
Beauty.
10.
Kirby.
Oh wow. Never got one of those, or the Clemens, or the other ones.
I have the 85 Donruss set still in the works.
It was oh my gosh. It was a reference.
That's pretty sharp.
I don't know if y'all remember the.
Is that the Black Porter, right? 85 Donruss?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But they put them in bricks, cellophane bricks.
Oh, for sure. They did that up through 92 even.
Yeah, it's still in the cellophane bricks.
Nice.
Here, get away.
3 of 3. That's nice, dude.
So yeah, it was in the box. I just started looking through, and I'm like, oh shit. We got some more stuff.
Bobby Knight is the one who threw chairs. That'd be him.
Yeah, Josh.
No, we're fresh out of hockey cards tonight, Eric. Damn it, Dave. You should have just let me roll with it. Hey, there's your hockey card, Eric. Nice neck there, Bob. Looking all sexy.
So the topic, I don't know if people could pick up on it. The fancy placeholder.
Saltwater taffy.
Had some of that too. Picked some of that up while we were in Destin. And he froze. Saltwater taffy froze the screen.
I think they are.
Saltwater taffy just broke him.
And then he's gone. He disappears. It took him away.
Only on the IRP does that happen.
He completely disappeared.
Oh, God, I love this.
Saltwater taffy.
Oh. Leave it to Bob. Leave it to Bob. So, Dave, as you were saying,
I'm in a hobby now that brings so much, I don't know, drama, but there's so many controversies you can have that aren't truly controversies. Why it's always been, and again, you can say it's exploitation, but you can say that in the same sense if somebody has like a great game. Hey, Zion had 38 points and 20 rebounds and dunked over Kevin Durant, and they won. Well, you better not put up any of his cards because you're just trying to exploit people and trying to get as much money as you can. You're trying to that way off a performance. Bad taste? I don't know. When people die, which is all we're all gonna do, it's inevitable, believe it or not. Spoiler alert. It's something I've seen many times, and I see the people get on the high horse. You can't sell their cards. You can. I don't believe there's a rule against that, especially if you're on like eBay. There's like, oh no sales of Kobe this week, guys. Sorry, passed away. No Kobe's. No, that's going to be a lot of the time the best time to sell, not in the sense that everybody's going to get top dollar, because you're going to have a lot of people back out. It'll be sort of a gut reaction or like a knee-jerk reaction. Like I got to get a Kobe auto. I'm going to spend $2,000 on something that.
FOMO. That's a FOMO thing.
Yeah. And it's also something where it's like, okay, I've held off, and some people, like if it were me, if I didn't have a Len Dawson the last couple of weeks, it would have been some time I would have got one. But luckily for me, I've got a handful of nice cards of his. I'd like to get more because, again, the time frame of what they have, the patches of, that's stuff I love. But I don't get I've seen it too many times on Facebook, more so than like anywhere else. I don't know how many times I've seen it on YouTube. This is true. But now all of a sudden the people come out as like high and mighty, like you have to protect this athlete and their good standing or their name or whatever, and you can't exploit him. You can't. It's you just want the money. No, he's in the news right now, and guess what? If they die, it's probably the last time they're going to be in the news, especially if it's not a Kobe Bryant. It's not a Jose Fernandez. It's not a Thurman Munson. At the time, Mr. Clemente, stuff like that. It's because, oh man, like John Andretti, I heard a couple summers ago, he was like, man, he's looking grim. What did I do? I went out and bought a press pass auto of his for like $6 shipped. I enjoyed him driving the 37 Kmart car. It's an Andretti. If you like racing, that's a name that's synonymous with racing. It's not going to go up. It's John Andretti. Probably won't go down because of the aforementioned Andretti name, but it's Mongo McMichael is going to be the next one. If you haven't got a Mongo McMichael auto, I'd recommend getting one. Because after he passes, which how he's still upright, I don't know, it's probably going to go up. People are going to flood the market. That with his stuff, but at the same time, it's always been baffling to me. We're in this hobby where so much you can exploit so much out of a performance. Fernando Tatis, 2 grand slams in 1 inning. You can try to get the negative. If somebody has a horrible game, you can try to used car salesman, the guy, well, man, he just had a bad game. I don't know if I want to take that full value and trade. Maybe I'll trade this, and it's something you might not have much into, whatever the case may be, to like shoehorn something away from someone else. That's not the tactics on the up and up. But all of a sudden, some of these people that, and again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I don't care what people do politically or religiously. But these people, the way they sound, it's like they're going to church 3 days a week. Like, oh, that's horrible. That's a horrible thing to do, and I would never deal with you. That's the way you're gonna. Really? That's the hill you're gonna die on? But you'll go to breakers that are fucking not sending cards out. You'll deal with people at grade that have trimmed cards. You'll deal with fucking auction houses where the guy is a shyster. It's like, you'll do all that, but if somebody dies, holy shit, you're going out to the execution. You're getting executed. The firing range. You're done. Because Jose Fernandez dies, and you want to sell his Bowman Chrome draft auto because they're going for 150 when they were going for 100. So you're gonna fucking start a war for $50 and again, Kobe Bryant. It's not like his stuff before he passed away. Oh man, you can get an auto for like $40. I wish I could. But again, he pretty much cemented his legacy. He was done. He retired.
Yeah, but Kobe is one of those special situations, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jose Fernandez was like a special situation. You know, unexpected. Some of these older guys, as they get older, let's face it, it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But the Kobe thing was, I hate to use the term phenomenon, because for those individuals that had cards already listed, after it was confirmed that he passed, those cards and those listings were like 10,000x. I mean, and that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it was like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
You're on, Bob. So we didn't hear you.
Not much of an exaggeration. I swear, cards that PSA 10s that were selling for $50 to $60 were like people were trying to get $8,000 for them.
Well, but at that point in time, though, that was the card hype. That was the pandemic rise of the hobby in that situation. But prime example. So I look when those situations happen. Look, personally, I don't like it, but I can't fault people for doing it. I can't. I mean, it's one of those in which that's typically going to be the peak as far as what something's going to sell for.
Yeah.
Most people who got lucky and already had cards listing and were about to end around the time of his passing, those guys banked. Because I saw like a 3-card top slot ungraded sell for like $12,000 the night that he passed. I mean, you're talking like stupid. In the height of the pandemic in 2020 and everything else, yes, PSA 10s were going between $8,000 and $10,000. It's not like there's 1,500 of them out there, but yet because the
PSA 9 finest refractor Kobe peaked at $24,000, and I just know that because it was told to me by the guy that I sold mine to for $350.
But it's one of those in which, you know, we've said it before. There is the best time to sell something was yesterday. You just never know. But, I have never been a fan of people selling stuff and taking advantage of a situation. That's a personal thing. But I'm not going to fault somebody. I'm not going to badmouth them.
So let me ask you this: if so, you're saying, say, more recent example. You say you had an eBay store, 500 listings or whatever, and you had in there, your thing was like 70, been 50, 60, 70s football, like high, graded football, and you had a dozen or so nice high grade Len Dawson graded cards. When he passed recently, I don't know if there was an increase for Len Dawson or not, but I imagine there was some kind of something. So if you had those things listed, are you going in there and bumping them up like $20 each, or you just say now's the time to sell them, and I'm okay with feeling about and with selling them?
Like, as a seller with a business, if you have a business mindset of making the most amount of money, you're going to bump them. If you have the time, that is. Because a lot of people may jump on stuff before you even have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But from a business mindset, I get it. Like I said, personally, I don't like it. But if I'm running a business and it's about making money, then you're damn right. If I have an opportunity, I'm going to take advantage of it. Absolutely. That's what you do.
Yeah, that guy, the National, sort of like, he bought that Bill Russell PSA 5 rookie, went and then flew home to California. When he landed, it was like worth 5 times as much. So, kind of crazy.
Like I said, it's a personal thing with me, but I can't fault people for doing it. And like you, Dave, the argument of exploiting somebody because of a good performance. Now, let's put things into perspective, though. The people who get the best return is those that didn't, quote unquote, exploit the situation. They already had stuff listed at the time. It was ending at the right time. Those people, they got their money. They got their money's worth, But on the flip side, when you have so many people flood the market with stuff because of a passing, whether it be unexpected, expected, whatever.
Well,
you flood the market, and then it like waters it down. So it has a.
So Dave, you said like that you got that Jim Brown 3 of 3 card, like. Maybe it is in the pile that's like I never want to sell that because I'll never be able to get that or anything like it back. But God forbid Jim Brown passes away in the coming year or two, and you're on another, like, man, there's something hanging out there that I really want to get, and the timing just works out perfect. That because really, I mean, that card, if it's not staying in your collection for the rest of your life, that's kind of like the next. That's the time to move it, right? Or you just move other Jim Brown stuff.
So he can just rub it in a little bit more again.
I don't think I'd move it unless somebody came with an offer that was just ridiculous. Because I don't want.
Is it wrong? Can you even just list it for like? You have a number that you had in your mind that, like, okay, I'd sell it for that, and then you double that number and you just put it up there and just see. You'd be like, okay, they really wanted it.
We could do it on like a 30-day listing, and that would be it. I'd probably do it just if you're gonna pay me.
X. Just say X.
Yeah.
Because Dave doesn't have a figure in his head. That's why I said just throw X.
No, because I mean I know what I got that for, and I know it's worth quite a bit more than what I got it for. But at the same time, it's like even at 10x, I wouldn't sell it. I mean,
if somebody offered you 10 grand, I bet you would.
Oh, then we're in the because if nothing else, in my mind, if somebody said, "Hey, I'll give you 24 hours, I'll give you 10 grand for that card," I contact you three, maybe a few other collectors, and be like, "Hey," and I'm sure every one of them, you guys would be like, "I would sell it," because somewhere in the pros and cons, it's like, "Bro, I can probably not a 3 of 3. If I want another Jim Brown patch, with that money, I could buy probably a pretty nice Jim Brown patch and be like, okay."
But now suddenly the market on Jim Brown patches has just shifted dramatically. So you're not only you're priced out of Jim Brown patches because the last one just sold for 25 grand or whatever.
But thankfully, though, I've got a few plus one patch auto, so I'm like, I'm right there, I'm sitting. I guess quality right there where it wouldn't have to be, but again, if you came insanely strong, if you came stupid, stink line, team medium, home ec close money, and you were like, I will pay a ton. You say like 600 a grand, 2 grand even. I'd be like, no, I'm good. I'm like, that 2 grand in my mind, I can spend that within 3 cards. And if I'm gonna sell something like that where there aren't those things floating around ever, it's gonna have to be. We've said it before. If we sell our collections, it's got to be for a sum that has to be where we can comfortably put money away. And if we do still collect, where we can scale back and be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna buy this. Well, that's the same thing as the Siakam, the PSA 10. I was able to flip out of that, and that's where I got that Ripken. Some of those monies.
Yep.
So
it's it's no different. The one night I was on Carlos's show, and I was showing off some of the higher end TD stuff. Yeah. And yes, it's personal collection. Under normal circumstances, personal collection means not for trade, not for sale.
Mm-hmm.
But when I showed the Flawless 101 patch auto, you know, it's all hypothetical.
Yeah.
But you know, it's one of those in which somebody's like, I'll give you 3 grand. Okay, I am me on Instagram. I know what I paid for it. And yes, it fits in the time range of where my personal collection is. It's in my sweet spot. But $3,000 could go for a lot of other stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those in which if the price is right, then usually there's always that one-off chance that you may move something that normally you wouldn't. It's not the same as a Jim Brown patch number to 3, but you know, at the same time, because the TD market continues to increase, which royally drives me nuts and pisses me off. But you know, I know there's at least one person who wants that card. And they're on Instagram. And they have the rainbow. And they've never seen the 101. Well, I wonder why, because I got it the minute it came out. And it's been sitting in there ever since. So, and no, I haven't messaged them. And I've thought about it and be like, hey, by the way, I know where the 101 is. But I don't want to. Well,
put it up there. Put it up there. First year Flawless 101, and then all of a sudden, ding, 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 ding. Messages come in. It's like,
at this point, it would be more than $3,000.
Oh yeah, well that's what I mean. It's like I would consider moving it, but it's like a figure you probably don't want to pay.
Yeah, it's one of those.
You don't want to insult somebody's like what they have the potential to offer you, but it's like.
Well, and remember,
you don't want to come on and say to them, "Hey, you can't afford it." Like, well, no.
Right. You may not remember this though. I was the original underbidder on that card. I lost it in auction, and I got the second chance offer, and I couldn't hit that bitch back. So, it's one of those in which, and that would be even more difficult for me to let something go, because it's one of those in which I'm a firm believer in karma to a degree. That card was meant to be mine.
Yeah.
Nobody else's. So it's like, that would be really hard to let it go. But like I said, if somebody says $10,000, it's like, yeah, I want that in certified funds. I want it sent FedEx priority mail, signature confirmation. The minute I get it in hand, I will ship the card the same way. Insured. So.
Yeah, it.
And I know we kind of went off the subject a little bit, but.
It still reverts back to if you had a big Kobe collection.
Yeah.
It's like, man, okay, I've got 3 or 4 of these autos. I would sit there and think, I've got 3 or 4 of the same autograph or the same subset, same insert set, same whatever. Like, man, if I get 2 or 3 flawless, number to 20, you know what? I'm moving one at a stupid price, just with the offset thought of, you know what? I'll keep the funds sitting in PayPal or whatever, wherever you got your online monies, or transferred over to your bank account, whatever the case may be. Because if I've been collecting Kobe for 20, 25 years, I know how the long term works. If I see something that it might cost me a little more, but something eventually will pop up that I've been looking for. And that money could help me purchase that. Or again, if you got a family, hey, that can fix a hole in the kitchen ceiling.
Bob.
That can fix a hole in the kitchen ceiling.
We did. Look at that.
So, and there, just completely. I don't think it's fixed. I think he fell into it. I think he's gone.
I'm telling you, the vortex, it might have been plastered up, but that vortex is still active.
Oh,
sucked it right up.
It's that saltwater taffy, man.
Yeah. Brought that out, and that was curtains.
So Vinny, Dave and I have given our opinion about the topic. What's your take on it?
If I was an athlete and I croaked and you had a bunch of my cards, you know what I'd tell you? Sell them and make money. So, and if you would do anything else, I would tell you you're nuts. Unless you hold them on for your personal collection. And somebody, I'm going back to the 90s when I first started, because the hobby existed in the 90s. I know it's contrary to belief. But back then, every dealer I ever dealt with said the first thing you do, you don't buy one of them, you buy 10 of them, and you hold them. He goes, this is a long-term game. He goes, you have enough to sell in the short, you have enough to sell in the medium, you got a couple for yourself, and you got enough for the long game. And those guys lasted for a long time until the glut hit, but they didn't diversify. When 95, 96 hit, and we went through the downward portion, I told everybody, buy Pikachu, buy Black Lotus, buy that stuff, because that'll sustain you through the card part of it. The sports cards went down, but that stuff was selling like hotcakes. Magic the Gathering was huge, and so was Pokemon. and those things went to about 2003 and 4, and it's all waves. You ride the waves, and like I said, it's a short game, a medium game, and a long game. And then you got your PC stuff that you don't want to ever give up. Get enough for all three and throw a couple in there for yourself. It's not a bad strategy.
I've said it for a long time. If I had more cash,
if I had $1 million,
you don't know what I would do if I had $1 million. I'd spend it all. Anyways, yes, that is a song.
Somebody would spend it for me.
If I had additional excess money, then what I already spend in stuff. Most of it's been in retail as of late to sit on. Yeah, I've turned into that guy. But that's okay. I would at least buy 1 to 2 boxes of every Magic the Gathering product as it drops. Because they now have draft and set boosters, and everyone now has a collector's edition. The issue is, depending on the set, you're looking at $400 to $700 for 3 boxes. That's not chump change.
No.
But there has been even the worst product ever produced from a Magic the Gathering perspective. Fallen Empires. It was garbage. Garbage. It has now finally started to see a pretty substantial increase. You could buy Fallen Empires for pennies on the dollar in sealed product. Packs now, I think, go anywhere between $25 and $30. So it's one of those in which it's no different than sports cards. It does this. It's always cyclical. But almost every Magic the Gathering product within 5 years has increased at least 1.5 times. That's not a lot overall.
Mm-hmm.
I said at least. If you can buy it for $100 and in 5 years it's 150, you're still in the green. You're still making money. Mm-hmm. You hold it 20, 25, 30 years. That's where you see a lot of the substantial amounts of money in some of the older product. Granted, they print the shit out of it these days, so it takes longer than what it used to. But I'm not one to give investment advice. I never have. But if you're wanting to, if you are truly the long term, buy a box of every product that comes out, 1 of each, and sit on it. But you got to give it at least 10 years.
Oh yeah.
But that's just me. Bob, you and I have talked about it because you've talked to me about it. And it's one of those in which it's not the same as buying like sports hobby. Sports hobby is stupid right now as it pertains to prices. Mm-hmm. You can buy a hobby box for $500 and it's 1 box. At least with Magic, you could buy 1 of each and it'd be right around $400 to $500. So you're getting 3 boxes for the price of 1. Mm-hmm. And if you don't sit on it and you don't open it and you don't do it for the collectability to build the sets, sealed wax for Magic is one of the better investments. But you have to be able to write it out. Mm-hmm. Even when the market is crap and you start saying, oh my God, the sky is falling, you still hold.
Hang tight.
Stay the course. So, like I said, this is not investment advice by any stretch of the imagination. But it is something that I've noticed enough and I watch enough to know that even when times are tough, if you stay the course and you hold it until basically you kick the bucket, you're doing somebody a solid for whoever gets it at the end of the day. So, and Bob, so Vinny got a chance to answer the question. Where I'm going back to the topic just so I can give you an opportunity. Because you posed good questions, Dave, but what's your take on the whole selling after a player dies? What's your take on it?
I've never really been in the position to quote take advantage of that, and I don't feel any need to go buy Willie Mays stuff and buy Sandy Koufax stuff, because they're definitely next to go. Or play that whole game of look up who's the oldest living Hall of Famers and who's got health problems. I don't know. I don't know if people go that crazy with it, but I wouldn't think it would have any bearing on. Now, if I had something in if I had a person in a cell box and they weren't listed and they passed away, I would probably take an initiative to list them if they were ultimately going to be sold. And I would feel okay, that worked out okay for me, Sorry, he's gone or they're gone or whoever it is. But chances are they didn't have, it's not like Jack Lambert or somebody that's, I know would not me personally, but my dad would be pretty broken up if that happened, and I don't want to see a 74-year-old man cry over a linebacker passing away.
Hypothetically, since we were talking about Jim Brown, Dave's 3-of-3 patch, my 1-of-1 flawless Terrell Davis auto. So hypothetically, somehow, some way, Tom Brady drops dead right now. You have the SP Authentic PSA 9 rookie. Would you take advantage of it at that point in time?
Ooh, I would really consider it. I would probably see it was something that I would be monitoring ever so closely, because him being Tom Brady, and if it's something sudden and tragic, there's the Kobe effect that people are, the market is going to change overnight, literally. But I think I don't know, there would probably be some kind of I still might ride it out to Hall of Fame, and him being inducted posthumously, that would be still the way to go. That's kind of where we're at now, but I'd talk it over with the dude and see what he thought. I mean, if people were buying PSA 9s for $60,000, I'm going to sell it.
Like I said, it was all hypothetical, and I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but it's one of those in which
that's probably not the card. That's probably not the one to use for me, because that's on the sell list forever.
And that's the reason why I positioned it that way, because I know what your future expectations are. But it's one of those in which if it's a sudden tragedy, you only have an X amount of time to really take advantage of the situation to the fullest potential. And I hate to use that terminology because we're talking about the death of somebody. But in all practical purposes, in order to take advantage of that situation, you only have a set amount of time in which you would be looking at the most value per se.
I might go just list it with a ridiculous buy it now, but somewhere that at least the person is willing to maybe make an offer, that it's not a stupid buy it now.
Yeah.
And then I would listen to real offers. But that means I'm selling it on eBay, which won't be the way that I will sell that card. So,
Right.
um,
So in that situation, you know,
you can't just like throw something up on a golden auction. You know, there's like a whole process there. So that would be a factor in trying to sell the Brady.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a bad example because of the platform that would be required to be able to quote unquote take advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
But you know, for those of us who have been around long enough, we always. I'm only speaking for myself, but anytime I happen to catch something, I do go look just to kind of see because I'm curious. It's like, but as I alluded to, a lot of the people who actually get the most amount of money are those that already had stuff listed, and it just so happens that they have 2 days or 1 day left, and those are the ones that you see that just go like through the roof.
Oh, would that
It's
happen
those
on a Saturday, and then or it happened on a Sunday, like the day auctions ended? It was over a weekend, so usually Thursdays and Sundays are the days.
But you know, if that's a timing thing. But then you had other people once it became confirmed and everything else and all this other, like with Kobe, people were throwing up stuff for like just stupid amounts of money, buy it nows and everything else. And in those situations, yeah, those are the individuals that are truly taking advantage of the situation. Those that happen to just have cards listed got lucky. They got lucky. Doesn't mean that others that didn't list on a 1 day auction potentially didn't get pretty good amount of money though either.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start like inundating the space, yeah, you see that big uptick, but then you've just drowned you've like watered down the hobby on all those cards, and then it really actually becomes counterproductive. When you water it down and increase the supply, the demand decreases. So therefore your prices will start to decrease. That's standard economics, supply and demand. But
I heard of that.
So
hey, I gotta help upstairs. It's bedtime, guys. So I know it's not the official ending of the show, but I was glad to jump on even for a little while. Actually, I've been on for a little while.
Always good to have you, Bob. It's been a while.
Yeah, definitely. We'll catch up. We'll do a non-live to the world chat sometime and just catch up on some stuff. So,
well, we'll have some chasing the hits episodes to schedule for too long too. So,
yeah.
All right, we'll be in touch.
All right, man.
It's good to see you.
See ya.
So, and I, like Canton says, everybody has the right to do what they want, and to a degree, everybody has the right to bitch, moan, groan, and complain if they don't like people taking advantage of the passing of a person. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Like I said, personally, I don't like it. I would never do it. This is me. However, if I had something listed at the time and something were to happen and I got 100 times what I expected because of it, I'm not going to sit there and be like, hey, because of the situation, I'm not going to take your money. I mean, come on. I'm not stupid. But for people to bitch, moan, groan, and complain, I think it's a little excessive. Everybody's entitled to their opinion on those things, and I see the points, I see the arguments, but at the same time, it's like, who were you to be on the hill to tell anybody what they can and can't do with their stuff, regardless of the situation? It's no different than people telling people what they should collect. It's the same thing. It falls within the same realm of rhetoric of you shouldn't tell people what they should collect. Collect what you like. Collect what you want to. It's not up to anybody else to tell you any different. So who's to say that they should be able to open their mouth and say, hey, don't sell a card because so-and-so died? It's the same thing. You know what? Mind your own freaking business. You do you, and I'll do me.
Yeah.
And that's it.
There is no hobby ethics committee when it comes to that. I mean, you can preach to this corner and the other corner will preach to that corner. It doesn't matter. It's something that, again, it's been talked about. I've seen on the forums. It's been talked about here and there, whatever. But nobody's ever really went into discussion and be like, well, why would you do that? What's the end game of bitching about somebody selling a card? We do that with the people that are, oh, this is PC for life, and it's like 6 minutes later, like Canton I mentioned too. Oh, next video, it's up for sale, or we're trading up. Well, if it's a grail, that should be the top of the mountain, because that's where those holy grails are at. Then that's something where I will get very adamant about, and don't call every card your grail. The grails are supposed to be something where it's, I won't say unobtainable, but something you've got to have, as you had mentioned before, the karmatic stars aligning. Everything like falls into place, and you're like, okay, I can put this together to get this. Maybe I'll have to flip this and another card. If it's almost like you're at a poker game. Like you got 3 cards out of the 5 or whatever. Like, man, I hope when he flips or whatever in the flop, and I can maneuver, and if this works out the way I'm thinking it can, maybe I can pull this off. But that shouldn't be, I got a grail and now I'm going to get this one. Well, you've never mentioned this one. You've mentioned this one for 6 months to those of us on the video or longer. That's your grail. That's your grail. That's your grail. Now, how are you 2 videos later moving to this, which you've never fucking spoke about? But if we look at the bottom of the screen, suggested videos, well, let's watch that guy. Oh, he talks about this card. Oh, that was a week and a half ago. Huh. Okay, this guy. He talks about this card a week ago.
So I kept this comment highlighted because I was getting ready to say, when it comes to collectors or the card collecting environment, or what does Carlos always call it? The
collector sphere, card sphere.
Yeah, but there's another one that he uses.
Hobby.
I don't remember, but anyways, the hobbyverse. We'll call it the hobbyverse, which is all encompassing. Collectors, investors, dealers, breakers, flippers, thieves, all inclusive.
Scammers.
To a degree, there is no ethics.
No.
There is no defined ethics. It boils down to personal ethics, morals, and values that dictate how you interact or conduct yourself or conduct business. Years ago, and we say this all the time, and Ken, I don't know how long you've been in the hobby. I don't want to speculate because that's not what I do. But if you've been in the hobby long before when the hobby originated in 2016, at least so we've been told, you will know that years ago in this space specifically, and maybe you weren't involved in YouTube either, but that's beside the point. Anybody who was unethical didn't last long. Okay, Ken, so you've been in the hobby as long as I have. Been on YouTube, what is it now, Dave? Are we going on 12 years now? give or take 11, 12 years.
We're over. At least I started in what? February of 2010. First video was in like May 4th of 2010.
Yeah, but I was like June or something. So
you were right there too. So I mean,
12 years. We'll just say 12 years. If anybody pulled any unethical shit, they were gone in the hobby world. When it came to YouTube, they were gone.
Yep.
Because the space has grown in popularity, and there are other people now in the mix. You got big money people. You have shitbags like Backyard Breakers. And yes, I'll call them out like it is, and I don't give a shit because they're scum.
That platinum card,
platinum card breaks with that shenanigan crap. You know, these people are garbage. But you're right when you say that right now everybody has short memory, and I don't understand why.
No.
If this is tolerable behavior, then we have a bigger fucking problem in this space than what anybody wants to accept and recognize.
Mm-hmm.
We can only hope that at some point these people are gone. That is the only thing that we can hope for, because there are still good breakers out there. There are great dealers. There are some out there that, you know, although I'm not a fan of them, they're not quote unquote bad people per se on the investor side or the influencer side. Everybody has their own personal opinion. It is moral decay. You know what? That is a fucking fantastic choice of words.
No,
that is fantastic. Moral decay.
What is it? A fantastic what? Use of
nomenclature. Sorry, I didn't know where you were going with that, Dave. My apology. But that is, I mean, that is fantastic. I had never heard that terminology, and thank you for putting it out there. With your permission, can we use that in future videos and future shows? I like that. Everybody make mental note. If we're allowed to use it, we must quote Canton Card Collector when using it. Because unlike others, we will give credit where credit is due, because that's how we operate. Unlike others who like to come and steal our shit and don't ever bother to give us credit. You all know who you are.
Dealer's Choice Artist Proofs.
Collections versus PC versus inventory. Not even 48 hours later.
So anyways.
Float on, Mississippi. Float on.
I'm off my high horse. I am off my high horse.
Tag, you're it.
This is a good way to wrap up the episode, since we are a little over 2 hours. I know we focused a lot of time on vacation, but we did touch on the subject, and you know, I like that you brought this up though, Dave. You know, because it's one of those in which it could have gone a multitude of ways. You know, because let's face it, when you're talking about somebody's morals and values, whether they're right or wrong, and in those situations, there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. So it's one of those in which, as long as somebody comes to the table with some good night, Canton. Thanks for hanging out. As long as somebody comes to the table other than the fact of just somebody bitching about something, then you know what? I'm willing to give somebody the benefit of the doubt to argue their point. But like we've always said, don't come to the table and say, well, it's not right because I don't like it. Well, why don't you like it? Well, because I just don't like it. Well, what don't you like about it? It's wrong. Why is it wrong? You know, those one word, single word, or few word phrases in a response is not sufficient to really cement your argument. No. Sometimes it's hard to put things in word. But you know, at the same time, it's like, figure out a way. Help us understand your point. And then maybe we can sit there and be like, you know what? That's valid. You know what? Okay, I get it. That's a valid point. I can see that. But for something like this, I think it was Paul who said earlier, though, people just want to find something to bitch about for whatever reason. And I don't think he's wrong in that assessment because, in our hobbies, in our hobby verse, there is a lot to bitch about these days. I bitch more than what I applaud. But a lot of that I keep to myself though too, because it's one of those in which, not that I try and be the positive person all the time. I do try and look for a positive. On the flip side, when we do have these conversations, it's always we take the more unusual topics that are more negative in nature and discuss them, because too many people focus on the positive. Oh yes, and to quote Paul as well, or I should say to quote Slipknot, "People equal shit," which is one of my favorite songs, by the way.
Yeah, again, that was a topic I thought of before, and I never wrote it down. I have too many of them where it's like I'm in the shower or I'm driving and I start thinking about something, and I'll even say it out loud, like, "Hey, I got to remember this," and it just stuff is not starting to stick anymore, and it's getting nerve wracking because I didn't put on the brake reservoir or brake fluid reservoir cap again. So it's the second one I've lost since I've had the car, and I haven't had the car a year yet. So, it's nerve wracking. I'm like, I shouldn't be forgetting that. That's a $20 hit because of memory, and it's the same with the topics. I'm like, man, I've got a fucking great topic, and it's just blank space. Hashtag Taylor Swift. It's a song that I'm like, I could parody this thing if I take the time. I completely forget the song, completely forget what I was swapped out words with, and I'm like, I don't want to start carrying around the very small little rectangular notepad, but I might have to because I need to write this stuff down, and then at least when I go back later and look and go, what the hell does this mean? Oh, then I can like go through it and be like, oh, that's what I was thinking there. Instead of always being in the position of like, I don't remember what the fuck I was thinking. What I don't 5 minutes later, everything's gone. Wiped completely clean. And I'm like, well, there goes another idea. Maybe we can have a rectangular discussion instead of a round one, but
that's called old age, Dave.
I know this, but it just I'm gonna have to get the small notebook and be able to fucking just jot stuff down because I know I've forgotten some stuff that I was really excited about. Like, oh, I gotta. July 10th. I will not forget that.
He's got a valid point, though.
Well, yeah, she got me too much for my birthday. I'm not a birthday guy. For me, I don't like it. I don't want people to acknowledge it. I just don't. It's stuff for kids, in my opinion, or when you get to be like 100, like up there, then you start celebrating longevity if they're, especially if they're in good health.
Or 65, 67, whatever retirement age. Well, for those of us who hope to retire.
Yeah, or don't die before we have the chance to retire. That's the boat I'm currently paddling with one paddle in. But yeah, she got
trying to find ways to reduce stress.
Oh, that's the camping part. It is
So do it more often. Instead of once a year, do it twice a year.
Well, that's what we usually do. We go in like June, but this year was softball. So it's like
That sounds like an excuse.
No. If I'm helping my kid and she's never played softball before that.
Dave, you're missing my point. I'm not giving you shit for being there for Naomi. You're missing the point. If you normally do it twice a year, and if you do it at this time, and because of this it didn't work, that's an excuse. So rethink the plan and still figure out a way to do it twice a year.
It's because we have the campsite that we stay at, and you can rent it, whatever, for the next year at that time by paying like when you leave, when your current stay. You can already reserve it. And so it's not like, oh man, we'll just go this time because
it's a timing thing. Okay, and I get that, and that makes sense.
I mean, if this was like, hey, your beach where it was like, okay, a few people are there, it's not out of the way, but it's not the main beach. It's like the one a mile away or whatever. It's like, okay, a couple campsites are on the lake and there's nobody there. Yeah, that would work. But I mean, we when we came back Friday, we also went to a couple other campsites to look, just to say, hey, let's check these ones out. They're on the way. Maybe it's something we like. These ones were your like classic campsites where it's like down a gravelly road. We met a truck and it's basically we're both straddling into the woods so we can get by on this road, which is basically 1.25 lanes. And there's like 8-10 of them, I think, maybe 12 tops of on Sullivan Lake, which is just north of Two Harbors, or just east, north, somewhere, west maybe. And it's like they're all booked up. And this isn't like, okay, we're on Lake Superior. This is just a quiet lake. I've never even seen it before, but it's like, okay, this is. So people are doing more of that. So if they're locked in, and Trista called, said, I want to go back up there and camp. We can go up there. Like, yeah.
So it's a planning / scheduling issue potentially.
Yeah, and then just trying to find when there's open times, because again, in the summer it's going to be work, softball, and then trying to fit that in. After softball, it works a lot better, but then like for next year, the nationals, so that sort of bumps out any end of July, early August type, just like a couple day trip or whatever. So it's availability, scheduling, timing. It has to all, like we've said, align.
I got you.
But yeah, if it was just, hey, let's go out there, yeah, we would have. I mean, I'm like, okay, let's go on the weekend instead, because I think the days were Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for the early June one. So it's a tough one to miss work that early in the summer and then softball. But again, I'd rather be with her. I'd rather be camping too. It's so nice and it's cool out. Especially this last.
All I'm saying is, if you're given X amount of vacation, make sure you take it. And this is coming from somebody who used to never take it.
Oh, always.
Only in the last 5 years, 4 years, have I made sure to at least take that one vacation.
Well,
and actually go do something.
People have been giving me grief because, again, take the long camping and then going to Michael's wedding, and like, you're going again? I'm like, yeah, my name's not on the store. They don't give a shit if I'm there or not. They give a shit because guess what? Nobody wants to fucking do the work. when I'm there, the work gets done and you don't have to worry about it. That's one less thing to worry about. But if I'm not there, then people have to do more, and then they get to see what I do. They don't want me gone. I'm like, no, I'm not beholden to them. I don't give a fuck.
Speaking of which, when are you leaving?
It's supposed to be tomorrow. I think tomorrow, but I don't know. Trista's got a ton of work, and I don't know. We've got to figure something out, because again, I wanted Thursday to, even if we go later tomorrow in the afternoon, like let's say make it down near Des Moines, like the same. I was down in Iowa Falls that we stayed at for the family reunion the one night. Even if we make it there, 5 hours to Sedalia, I think, maybe 6 hours, if that. And Michael gets done with work at 4, and we're planning on going out to dinner if we still go the Thursday. Because she wants to try to make a Friday to Monday, and I'm like, on Monday, I just don't know if that's gonna. I don't want to come back with one more day of them trying to fuck around with freight, because it means more work for me to try to clean up their mess, because they're all idiots. They're all bumbling buffoons and poster children for abortion. So I mean, it's
no, I get it.
So we gotta have that. I don't know how much after talk will be going on, just because I probably should call her up and try to figure out what the heck we got going on. But yeah,
and we can do that too. It's one of those in which if you got to get stuff figured out, it's not like we don't understand. So
yeah, that's. I'd like to, because again, I gotta get some kind of dress shirt. I'm just gonna wear jeans because I'm not gonna I don't dress up well. Because they don't make clothes in my size, and I don't like dressing up because it's really constricting for a man of my carriage. It's just you're sitting in like a. I don't think they're having it in a church. It's like a venue. I've got the somewhere.
I think it's called like the venue or something.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm hoping there's air conditioning. That's because it's supposed to be like 90 degrees.
Yeah, it's called the venue because I have the invitation right here.
So I'm like, okay, but I know he's not going to care. It's not going to. I'm sure you won't want me in like pajama pants and like a greasy white T-shirt, but just to know that I'm there, we're there. That's pretty much the benefit, the what he wants. So, but yeah, I talked to him or messaged him yesterday. Said, hey, what's your Thursday looking like? He's like, work till 4, then nothing. Said, what about like dinner? Just whatever, just BS, and you can get your cooler full of meats, and he's not going to watch it. I know. So I've got 3 cards.
Don't show him just in case he does. Never mind.
He won't. That's I know he's got 1 or 2, but that's I think the national 1 to 15. This is going to be an upgrade. I've had this forever. He's known about it, but he went and bought one. And then this, because of his dog. That's the kind of.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
So, got those, and I don't know. Like I said, it'd be nice to have 36 hours in a day just to get the shit done you want to get done, because I'd love to jump over to Ryan's and Neil's, bring some stuff down there and be like, hey, make an offer. This will boost your inventory. A lot of stuff. I'm sure you can make a good markup on it. I care, but I don't. I'd rather turn the money into something else. And but yeah, even pay for stuff down there and just pay for the whole works. But yeah, got to figure that out.
A lot of stuff to figure out in a short amount of time.
Oh, it always works that way.
Pretty much.
But that's fun though. Still, that keeps the mind moving.
Yep. Such is life. Yeah. I think we can put a bow on it. We're coming up on 2.5 hours. Look at us go.
On brand. Thank you for Robert joining us tonight. Popping in. It's been a while. Not stained, but it's been a while. Thank you for everybody chatting, conversing, bringing up your ideas, thoughts, helping the chat chug along. And yeah, like we say, without you guys, gals, everybody chiming in, it doesn't, we can talk, but it helps to sway discussions certain directions. Because again, if you're talking to a room and there's nobody in it, why are you talking? You got people in there, you get some counterpoint, and maybe the discussion, the topic goes where you really didn't think it could go, or somewhere you didn't consider it going. So thank you for that. Be back on next week at the 7:35 ish p.m. Central Standard Time. Not sure on the topic yet. I gotta refer back to my list and see. I know gotta reach out at some point too for Jeff, as NHL season starting to chug closer and closer. Maybe get some of our brethren to the north on for a big old show for that, and maybe Brad will jump in and talk about his Columbus Blue Jackets. And
I'll mysteriously be on vacation that day.
Yeah, you used your vacation up. A chunk of it. You used a chunk. A dab.
Unlimited. I have as much as I want to take. Within reason. Within reason.
Sedalia is only
it's like 10 hours.
That's it. 10 hours for me. Literally in the middle.
You have company.
Tell Scott, call up Scott. Say, hey, Scott.
that as much as what I would love to, trust me, I seriously thought about it. The issue is and it's not because of taking the vacation and being gone for 2 weeks. Timing is everything. If you can recall, and I may or may not have mentioned this, one of my people tendered their resignation when I was on vacation. So they're now gone. Their last day was Friday. So now what I'm doing now is a team of 2. So, and I don't do well with long drives by myself. I don't. I probably should, because, when I'm usually driving, when we're going places, I feel like I'm driving by myself anyways, because my kid's on their phone, my wife's on her phone. It's like, I might as well be by myself.
Hey, look at that. And everybody.
I'm like a canary. Put me in a car. I said, I'm like a canary from Married with Children. Remember where they used to put the sheet over Kelly and she'd fall asleep? Put me in a car. Boom. Ow.
I can't. I cannot. It seems like I get really tired if I'm driving. I've got to eat and I've got to have something to drink, or I will literally fall asleep driving. But I can't sit there and just zonk out. I'll, for a moment or two, couple like 20 miles. Yeah, but I can't just sit there and be dead to the world. I can't do that anymore. Kid? Oh, obviously that you'd be out 10 seconds as a kid, but now, no. Usually it's like, what am I going to miss? What am I going to miss? Cool license plate? Something cool like that I can't see anywhere? No, I'm up. So yeah,
no, this ended up being bad timing, and it sucks because I was planning on going, but things happen for a reason. Timing is everything. It sucks, but let's hope National works itself out for everybody.
and of course, Chiefs host the Chargers Thursday night. But I looked at tickets for that, and once again, the Fanatics money did not come in. So those were a lot more than I was expecting. I've not looked at football tickets in a long time, and I might not look at football tickets ever again. $900 for second deck tickets. I'm like,
that's some bullshit.
I'm like, does Patrick Mahomes? Do I get a meet and greet with them? Like conversation, a couple autos, some 8x10s, and
that's somebody scalping because that's like probably 3 or 4 times face value. That's bullshit.
I'm just like, I want to go to a Chargers game. The last Chargers game I was at was, God, 2000? No. I think the only Chargers game I was at, 99. 99 or 2000 when Eric Kramer was their quarterback. Yeah, Natron was there because he was hurt. And Jermaine Fazand, you got to see him. But the Eric Kramer and Jeff George matchup, I was got to watch that, and I think Jeff Graham was there. God, who else would have been there? Michael Ricks, I think, was playing. It was a good game, but somebody threw some beer on me because I was wearing my Chargers jacket. I'm like, good job, Minnesota. You win again. Their victory for the intelligence. So, yeah, I don't know. I just wish it would have worked out better for that, but because I think Smitty's going to that game. So, and I know he's in the wedding, so I'll get to see him. I got Dugout and Eric Berry, top Supreme quad relic, I think, to 3 the rookie year, because I think that was only the 1 year product. 2010. I don't remember it in 11 or 9. I just because I think 5-star may have come in 11. Inception. I don't know. Something happened because I know that it wasn't back because it wasn't really well received. I remember for us because I don't remember seeing much of it. But so yeah,
Supreme spans a few years.
Okay.
Because there's 15, there's 13, there's 2010, there's 12. So it spans a few years.
Must be something we just didn't do anything with because I don't remember.
Well, I couldn't remember because it was, such hit and miss. That was such a hit and miss product. But anyways.
So I'll have that. I'll try to get him on video, and I'll start cursing him out because he hasn't made a video in forever. And every time I send him the link, you don't want to see me on here. I'll be like, no, you're fucking getting both barrels. So I don't know. I'll have pictures. I'll probably have some sort of video of the ceremony because, again, I'm sure they've got somebody videotaping it, but at the same time, that's something for us. It's like when you put up your video, your wedding video. It's like, guess what? you're doing it, I won't say for yourself, but you want to have that archived so we can see it, so we can, or a family, if they couldn't make it, family get to see it. So for you guys that can't be there, I'm gonna try to do the same. So yeah, it'll be fun. No matter what, it'll be fun. No, that's the problem. It's on that Amazon Prime now or whatever. Which
I think though for the first couple weeks you can stream it on NFL Plus for free.
Yes.
Something I saw like the first 3 weeks or whatever.
And I'm hoping that's with Monday Night Football. I was able to watch that because my brain, I'm like, oh, let me check Hulu. What the hell does Hulu have? I did that Saturday, and I was able to watch some of the college football. And I'm like, through ESPN Plus on there, and I had no idea. The whole time I've been trying to do it off my phone, cast it to the TV, like for like the Little League World Series games, like the regional stuff and whatnot. And like, if I would have known this would have saved a lot of headaches. So I watched the Kansas West Virginia game. That was a insane game. And I don't know what other game I watched for a while. Oh, Oklahoma. They were scraping, I think, Kent State or somebody, and then all of a sudden, Oklahoma figured their shit out. So, but yeah, hopefully all that stuff, so I can watch some football. Other than, so I can watch Sunday night game and I can watch CBS because of Peacock and because of Paramount Plus. But hopefully that Hulu Plus, because I watched the Broncos game last night, and then
We won't talk about that.
no, we won't.
Not at all. I answered a few questions that Canton brought up. We will not talk about that football game ever.
That wasn't even a football game.
Shut up, Dave.
I'm just saying. Just both sides were. But so yeah. For that video, try to send some pictures, then I'll, because again, that's what we're about. So thank you again for joining us. Remember, like, comment, dislike, unsubscribe, subscribe, tell your friends, don't tell your friends. Send money our way, Discord, OnlyFans for sure. Vinny's got a new 10 photo spread that you might want to take a peek at. So it's autumn. It's autumn in Michigan. The leaves are a changing.
That's not the only thing that's a change.
Send money. Send it our way. So, with that being said, for Steve, for Robert, who has already left, for Vinny, I'm Dave. This has been the Instant Revolution podcast. Remember, collecting cards, it's absolutely wonderful. The friendships that you forge in this hobby, it's what it should really be about. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.